Thank you all for coming out today. This is truly a great reception here of a number of people that are here today, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you several things about the city. This room and many rooms outside of this room are the reason Goshen and Elkhart County are such a successful area. It's because of the partnerships we have. And today, it makes sense to acknowledge two of those partnerships, and Nick Kiefer and the Chamber of Commerce. We are very grateful to have the long-standing relationship that the city has had with the Chamber as we work together to build our community and to make ourselves, the community, more prosperous. And then Maple City Chapel, Pastor Jay, they've been great over the last 8 years with my administration. A few years ago, I came to them and I said, hey, could we use your location, your church, to help manage any volunteers during emergencies? And we also occasionally use them for warming shelters, and they've always opened the doors every single time we've asked. So Nick and Jay, on behalf of the community of Goshen, we are so grateful for your friendship and for your partnership. Today I'll be giving you a high-level view of where the city has been and where we're going in regards to our finances. I will then move into some interesting facts about the city and what we've done over the last 8 years. And finally, I'll make some personal comments about my time as mayor and my community. Before I get into that, though, I do want to acknowledge Kevin Koch with Koch House of Design, who's downtown Goshen. He made this suit for me for today, and it's very comfortable. I've never had double-breasted, so I feel a little possibly gangsterish. I don't know what it is, but so I'm trying to get used to that. But gangster, politician, it all goes, right? And also, if I could have all the department heads and city staff that are here today, please stand. Good. Without this group, our city does not function. And I'd also like to recognize all of our youth advisors to all our many boards here that are with us from Goshen High School seniors. So if the youth advisors would please stand. All these students are either appointed by myself or by our city council, but we utilize a process at Goshen High School where the students nominate themselves, and then we actually get with Elkhart County, bring the voting machines into the schools, and the entire school system entire high school gets to vote for their representatives. So it's been a great process, and this is the 8th year we've been doing that. I'm going to be going through the city budget here. We're going to start with what we've had over the last few years. Just want to remind you, as we look at all these numbers, and mostly graphs here, whenever you see something for 2023, those are going to be estimated numbers. And we're also making assumptions when we look at the 2023 numbers that we'll spend every dollar that we've budgeted. We do that, I'll get into that actually a little bit later. But as we move forward, things in the city of Goshen are actually going really well. We've got our challenges that are coming towards us, and we've got challenges that we're going to have to figure out, but we're in a good place to handle those. Each year we talk about the big 4 funds. These funds are the ones that make up the lion's share of the city's budget. And so it's our general fund, our MVH fund, MVH restricted fund, Parks Department, and Public Safety Lowit. The general fund funds the vast majority of our departments, and it's our largest fund within the city of Goshen. MVH and MVH restricted fund, those are our street department. That's our street department. So the MVH fund we can use for any means that we need within the street department, whether it's employees, building needs, materials, hiring contractors. And then the MVH restricted fund is specifically used for road maintenance. So we can use that for purchasing equipment that's going to help us with that road maintenance, hiring contractors, and getting materials as well. The Parks Department fund obviously runs the Parks Department, and the Public Safety Lowit, that's a local option income tax. It's a 0.5% income tax, and that goes to our police and fire departments to help with a lot of their needs. Every year, we talk about the cash balances of the city of Goshen, and this is something that I watch very closely throughout each year. And as we look forward to future years, I'm also making sure that these cash balances are staying in a good place. When we look back all the way to 2007, I was actually in that election that year, came a council member in 2008. But in 2007, the city of Goshen had just under 20% cash balances. And Mayor Kaufman had built those in place to be ready for any emergency that might come, not knowing that the Great Recession would come in 2008. With 20% cash balances, the city was able to maintain and continue doing all of our services, everything we do for the community, with very few changes to what we do. We had the money on hand to keep operating while we weren't receiving our tax dollars in full because a lot of people couldn't pay them. So when I came into office, I knew if 20% got us through a recession, what would 50% prepare us for? So I set the goal of getting our cash balances to 50% level in the city of Goshen, and we were able to get there pretty quickly. When I came in, there was just over 25%. We spent several years developing budgets that would allow us the freedom of continuing to do things for our community that we need to do, continue to offer all the services, and save some money at the same time. You can see here at the end of 2022, we actually ended with 66% cash balances. I've always told the council 50% is the line I want to be at, and we're going to, some years we'll end up going over that, some will go under, and that's fine. But when we're above 50%, that'll give us the freedom to pick up some more projects in the next couple of years, and when we're below, we'll pull back a little bit and save. But 50% cash balances felt like a good number for me to make sure that Goshen is always prepared for what comes to us. Now, when we look at all of our funds, we have roughly 33 to 35 funds. This changes from year to year. We have random funds that get set up for like the ARP dollars that were given out by the federal government. That's a fund that will be with the city of Goshen until that money is spent, and then that fund will disappear because we won't be getting money into it anymore. But when we look at all funds, right now we're actually at 131% cash balances. This is a big, big number, and this was not by design. I talked last year about 2020, how we pulled back on projects because we didn't know what was going to happen. 21, 22, we were seeing employee shortages, we were seeing material shortages, and contractors were very, very busy with all the money that was coming out for infrastructure. So we temporarily have this high level of cash balances, but a lot of that money is identified for projects that will happen. We're just trying to get them back into the chart and get them back going again. We will see that number come down drastically over the next couple of years, and it will take a couple more years to get that done. So the reason I've picked 50%, I want to be prepared for anything that comes at us. But if we save too much money, I feel like we're wasting the tax dollars that we have by just letting them sit there when we have so many needs within our community. We do have a high percentage here. We have to be careful not to use these dollars, even though we have a lot in the bank right now. We have to be careful not to use these dollars for any ongoing yearly expenses, because once they're gone, we will have no way to keep up with those with the income that will exist. There's a lot of talk every year with the council and with some community members about our rainy day fund. We have about $2.5 million that's sitting in that rainy day fund. Since I've been on council, 2008 to today, we've been through a lot. And I think we've only touched the rainy day fund once and then replaced the money, and it was roughly $100,000. So to me, I feel that that is actually a very good level for the fund to be. I don't support putting more money into that fund because it's been raining and we haven't touched it. So I don't support putting more in, but there's another reason why I don't support putting more money in that fund. And we have two other funds in the city of Goshen that we never factor into our numbers. And that's the electric utility sale fund, which came from when we sold our electric utility back in the, I think it was 40s or 50s. And then also our major moves fund, which is the money Goshen received from the state when the toll road was leased for the 100 years. And so those two funds, the city of Goshen has protected. We keep those dollars in place, and then the city has those funds to borrow from if we have an emergency project or a big project we want to move forward. We can use those funds, but we always have a plan so we can replace that money, and we often do it with an additional percentage rate, whether it's 1 or 3%. So between those two funds and the rainy day fund, we actually have three funds that hold about $10 million. So the city of Goshen is in an excellent spot. When we add those funds into this chart, we actually have 144% cash balances. So we have about 13% every year that we aren't paying attention to, and that's by design so we can look at a budget very conservatively and keep things moving forward. Every year I talk about property tax caps and our circuit breakers. And we've kind of come into an interesting realm here, which is one thing that city council, city staff, and I are going to have to watch closely. But in 2017, the city of Goshen did not collect $4.3 million due to the tax caps. Those tax caps have been here for a long time. We're used to them. We've been planning for them. And then 2018, that amount dropped down to $3.7 million. And then for the next 3 years, we saw a very consistent $2.6 million loss. The state of Indiana, Baker Tilly, our accounting firm, and the city, we have a formula that we've been using each year to estimate how much our tax cap loss is going to be. The one thing that's got us very nervous right now is we had that very consistent $2.6 million of loss for 3 years in a row there. And if you look back at 17, 18, 19, what we were estimating would be lost was actually more than what we actually lost. That was another thing we did on purpose so that if we estimate more, that way we don't lose it all, we're in a better position. But in 2022, we had used the same formula, figured $2.6 million loss, and we actually had a $3.7 million loss. We don't know why that happened. We're working with state leaders and with Baker Tilly and others to try and figure out why this is changing and why this formula didn't work. But for this year, 2023, we're looking at a potential of a $5.3 million loss again. That's going to be significant to the city of Goshen. But that's where those cash balances are going to help us work through those hard times until things correct themselves. And as you look here, this is just this chart, the hashed marks there, the yellow and the green. Those just show the losses that we've had over the years, and you can see how it started off kind of narrow. It really widened up, and then it narrowed back down again. The concerning part is the fact that this graph is now widening up again. So we're going to keep watching, have to keep paying attention. We might need another year or two of data and information to figure out how to change that formula, but we'll get there. And one thing the state leaders are looking at doing, they were talking a lot about wanting to give us all breaks on our property taxes, which, I mean, I would love to pay less. I think all of us would. But the reality for cities is the less property taxes we all pay, the less we can do as a city. And so there is one discussion that's happening. It looks like it is moving forward, but the state is talking about taking the 1% cap on residential and lowering that to 0.95%. It doesn't sound like a big deal, and for the vast majority of the communities in Indiana, it won't be a big deal. But there are several communities like Goshen that are already at our tax caps. If they make that choice, if they make that move from 1% to 0.95%, the city of Goshen will lose another estimated $5 million. That's going to be harder to work with. I've talked with several state leaders, and we're very hopeful that they will grandfather communities that are actually being hit hard by the property tax caps already, so that type of thing doesn't even hurt us even more if that does happen. Moving forward, looking at the 2023 budget. This graph here, as you're looking at 2022 and the past, you're going to see that all the budgets there are balanced budgets. Every one of those from 2016 to 2022, the city council and I actually passed funded budgets. So we passed budgets where we were saying we're going to spend more than we brought in, but we had the savings to cover those gaps. But what I want to point out here is every single one of those we actually balanced by the end of the year. And so we did that by design. By budgeting a funded budget, we're able to have more freedom if emergencies come up or new projects come up that we want to jump on. And department heads and I work very hard throughout the year to make sure we balance that budget by the end of the year, so we're still building our cash balances. 2022 is the first year that we passed a funded budget and we ended with a funded budget. We spent more than we brought in. And that was by design again, because we're trying to spend down our cash balances. 2023, as you see that, the yellow line there is our budget, the green line is our income, and the blue line is our cash balances. 2023, we passed a funded budget. I imagine by the end of the year we will have a funded budget, but the gap won't be as big, because all the projects we're hoping to move forward will not get going this year. Now these are the estimated numbers. If we spend every single dime of the budget that we've budgeted for 2023, we will end the year in the Big Four with 44% cash balances. That's still a great place for the city to be. And if we look at all of our funds, and this excludes electric utility and the major moves funds, we will end the year with 63% cash balances. This year, the chart with all funds, that's the one that I watch closely to make sure that we're staying within that, close to that 50% line. So this is actually makes me very excited for the future of Goshen, that we're going to have this kind of money going forward. And I can tell you again, we're not going to spend it all this year, so we will have better than 63%, and we're going to have to figure out next year how we keep spending this down. And the last graph I want to show you here is our net assessed value. In 2007, our net assessed value was just under $1.2 billion for the entire community. The recession happened. It took until 2019 for us to recover to the exact same assessed value as 2007. But from 2019 on, and that's due a lot to the people in this room and in this community, 2007 on, our assessed value has been climbing drastically. And this year, we have a net assessed value of just over $1.6 billion. It's fantastic for our community. We're growing. We're experiencing those growing pains with traffic and infrastructure needs, and we're working through those. But we are growing, and this is we had 4 years in a row we've grown more than the state of Indiana by population, and we fully expect that to happen this year as well. We have several big housing projects coming on board as well that'll help keep that trend going. I'd like to move into a little bit now, kind of calling it city by the numbers. And this is kind of pulling together different stats from different departments over what we've done over the last 8 years. We're going to start with the public safety sector, but our fire department has responded to 33,366 calls for service. That is a very large number that keeps the men and women of Goshen Fire very busy, and so they're doing an excellent job. The Goshen Police Department has responded to 202,625 calls for service. Again, with the staff we have, it keeps them very busy. Now that's calls they may have come up on and they initiated. We might have called for help. Somebody probably did something stupid and they had to go out. So that's it's a very large number for our department. I was very interested in that number, so I talked to Chief Miller shortly after I got that. And I went back and I asked him, what percentage of that number is traffic violations? And it came back for the average over all those years, 25% of 202,000 is traffic violations. So speeding, running a stop sign, that type of thing, reckless driving. So I wanted to take that a step further to make a point today. 25% of their budget this year is $2 million. 25% of the last 8 years of their budget is $13 million. 25% of the last 8 years of their time is 2 full years. $13 million and 2 full years of their time were spent because of people in this room and in our community that can't follow insanely simple rules. So as a friendly reminder, these guys right here need your help. And we know in our state, in our country, and our city is no different. Crime is escalating. So as we have those discussions around the table about crime escalating in our community, just know if we can slow down a little bit and follow those rules, we can free up a lot of their time and money to be able to doing the things that we really need them to be doing. So I do ask everybody to think about that. Now I'll move on. We've planted 4,673 trees in the city, collected 47,224 tons of leaves. I don't know if you've ever picked up a leaf, but that's a lot of truckloads. We've added 6 miles of bike paths for a total of 25 miles. Added our first fully inclusive park with 8 new projects and 22 new programs in our Parks Department. There have been 14,790 building permits for a construction cost of $705 million. We've added 8.7 miles of newly constructed water main for a total of 209 miles, and we've pumped 9.78 billion gallons of water. We've added 8.7 miles of newly constructed sewer main for a total of 209 miles of sewer main in our city. And we've pumped 9.2 billion of water we've cleaned. And we've added 5.7 miles of storm sewer for a total of 67 miles in the city of Goshen. 74 miles of newly constructed or resurfaced roads. And if you take all the roads and all the alleys in the city of Goshen, we have roughly 150 miles of roads. The city staff has no doubt been busy over the last 8 years, and they've been busy with our projects and with your projects. And they're doing a fantastic job. And sticking with numbers, my family and I, who are actually here with me today, both Bud and Pippin are here, my kids and Maya. And in fact, when this whole thing started with the elected official position for me, Pippin wasn't even here. So it's our family's changed quite a bit. But my family and I have given roses away every year to say thank you to the community and to remind people that we do care and others do care, and that an act of kindness can go a long way. Today we'll have 500 roses at the doors as you leave, and we ask everybody to please take one. So keeping in the spirit of numbers, over the last 8 years I decided to figure out how many roses we've handed out to the community. We've done this putting them out on City Hall steps for people to come by. We've done this by walking through the community on a random weekday and handing out roses. And we've done this by handing out roses in a parade. But as of today, we have handed out roughly 4,500 roses to our community in the last 8 years. And we do that because we so appreciate all of you and what you do to make Goshen such a great place. In 2008, I became Goshen's second youngest council member, later becoming Goshen's youngest mayor in 2016. Serving this community as an elected official and leader for 16 years has been the great life honor. I have enjoyed and valued being a servant leader in Goshen, and my work has always been focused on bettering our community for your family and mine. It has never been focused on political parties. When first elected in 2007, I knew that being an elected official would be a temporary position in my professional life. Cities need new leaders from time to time to bring fresh perspectives and initiatives and represent different parts of our community that can encourage new growth. And at the same time, cities need to balance new leaders and the need to keep others for consistency to keep the community moving. We also need to value and appreciate the consistency and importance of the work that is done by the city staff. They are the heart and soul of our community, and they have been allowing Goshen to run and function in an exceptional way since 1831. Their knowledge and experience ensure that our community continues to thrive long into the future. In December of 2022, I had a long discussion with my family, Maya, Bowden, and Pippin, and decided that I would not seek re-election after this next term. Well, I love my work. It takes an immense amount of time and brings a high degree of stress. My job reminds me of the quote from the book, The Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And being the mayor has truly been the best yet most demanding job I have ever had. In the last several years, I've had great opportunities arise to help serve this community in other ways. I'm currently serving as Vice President of Accelerated Indiana Municipalities, which is a statewide group that represents all cities and towns in Indiana. And I'm slated to be the president for 2024. I've been appointed to the nationwide Small Government Advisory Board to the EPA by the Biden administration. And I was also honored to receive an appointment from Lieutenant Governor Susan Crouch to represent all cities and towns in Indiana on the Housing Task Force for the state. Recently, a new opportunity was presented to me. It brings together my 18 years of construction experience and renovation experience, my 22 years of serving on boards and commissions throughout our county, state, and nation, and my 16 years of elected service. Yesterday, I met with my department heads to let them know what I'd be announcing today. It is with an excited yet heavy heart that I announce that I will be stepping down as mayor of the city of Goshen and removing my name from the ballot as an incumbent mayoral candidate. While I am sad to leave my position, I am excited to take on new challenges. The need for housing in Elkhart County has become obvious over the last several years. As mayor, I've seen individuals who need help to get back on their feet. I have also worked with others and employees and leaders who have had generous hearts and who have wanted to help empower their employees when the need is for assistance. The synergy of providing and giving assistance to those who want to work, grow, and give back, that's what creates a vibrant community. Having the opportunity to connect leaders with those in need to grow and build our community is an exciting process. The new job that I will be taking will allow me to actively help those in need within our community and our county. While it is difficult to step down as mayor, I am actually very excited to announce I have accepted the CEO position of La Casa of Elkhart County. And La Casa, La Casa will have a press release in the coming days. I will be working closely with Goshen's next mayor to develop a positive transition plan and process. Over the last couple of years, I've encouraged somebody in our community to run for city council in hopes that they would follow me as mayor. I'm excited to say this person is willing to step up for our community, bringing new skills and ideas to this position. This candidate has strong community connections, spent years bringing people together, has excellent organization and leadership skills, and will keep the management team of the city together. There is no doubt in my mind that they will take Goshen to a more prosperous, inclusive, and vibrant future. I have been humbled You know, there's a popular song out right now. It's by Coldplay, and it starts off, boys don't cry. They keep it all inside. And I just want everybody to know, I don't know why, but I never got that memo. I have been humbled by the support I have received from residents and businesses in Goshen. I now humbly ask you to transfer your support to this community leader as this person steps up on our behalf. Although I cannot yet share the name, there will also be another announcement in the next couple days with this person's name. As we move forward, we will continue to encourage transparency by keeping the community informed of the details surrounding the transition. For the next few days, we need time to finalize all the plans, solidify appropriate dates, and pick our initial steps. But as the first step, I will be appointing and announcing a transition team that will help throughout this process. That team will be led by my good friend, Deputy Mayor Mark Brinson. I will be offering my time, experience, and knowledge to help throughout the rest of the year, answering questions of the design and intent of the current city budget, walking beside our new mayor as the projects continue to move forward, and helping to work through the process of creating the 2024 budget. We are currently working with those who will guide us through this process for the Democrat Party for the precinct chair appointments. I have been honored to serve with several different clerk treasurers during my time elected. Each one has brought a different set of skills that have helped move Goshen forward. Our current clerk treasurer, Richard Aguirre, has fit right into the team, and he will be one of those steady hands that will be needed for this successful transition. I have also been honored to serve with several different councils. The council members and I have worked hard to stand together, bringing together differing opinions and political affiliations. Together, we have unanimously passed budgets my administration has presented from 2016 to 2023. These budgets have placed Goshen in a great position to deal with the worst of times and helped us grow a community and build prosperity. I am pleased that we have worked on for our community, not for political parties. We have unanimously supported a resolution to stand against immigrant detention facility in our county. We stood together to pass a resolution supporting our state leaders to create driver's cards for anyone who lives and works in our community and our state and cannot get a driver's license due to their immigration status. We have supported the unprecedented growth of our community over the last 7 years. We have started youth programs and helped to ensure that all people and all voices are part of our processes. We stood together finding common ground throughout the Great Recession of 2008, the flood of 2018, the extreme cold of 2019, and the pandemic of 2020 and 2021. We have been working for you and with you. More emergency responses have been needed in the last 8 years than Goshen has dealt with in the last several decades. I know our new mayor will continue to lead us, working together as a community. The department heads, and all 276 city staff members have my heartfelt thanks. I am so appreciative of all you do to make Goshen a safer and better place to live. They are the heart and soul of our community. While my decision to step down has been very difficult, having you all in place is what makes it easier, knowing that things will continue and you will continue to do great projects for our community. It has been an honor to be part of the team and work beside each of you. I will forever be grateful for the friendships that we have developed and grateful for all you do in our community. I offer my complete gratitude to the hundreds and thousands of volunteers, board and commission members, residents, and businesses. Our success in this community is no doubt due to your service to and investment in our community. Both exciting and difficult times are still ahead of us, but remember, we stand together regardless of what comes our way. I look forward to working with you as we continue to create a strong and dynamic community. I will leave you with this. On my first day in the office, I had 2 things I needed to do. First, I sat there at the desk for a little while and started to wonder, does somebody bring me work? Do I go get it? Little did I know that was my last free day. And second, I knew I needed to decide what kind of leader I wanted to be. And to quote the great Ted Lasso, inaccurately quoting Walt Whitman, be curious, not judgmental. Even though this quote is inaccurate, it is valuable to think about. When we are judgmental, we separate ourselves from others. When we are curious, we ask questions. We learn and build respect for one another. And we grow together because we build an understanding of our differences. Working together has always been the obvious path forward for me. I have done my best to listen, ask questions, and lead with honesty, kindness, and respect. I knew I wanted to build a Goshen in a way that others would say, I left it better and stronger than I received it. I truly hope I have achieved that goal. I've been saying the following for 8 years. It has never been truer. I love my community, and I love my job. Thank you all for being part of both.